Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a level 20 Shadowheart build in Baldur's Gate 3. This is going to be a light cleric using the level 20 mod to really enhance the abilities of what we can do here. This is a very cool one, so I encourage you to check this entire video out. We're going to keep her as a cleric, that's obviously a given, but we can start with a single level of fighter for the sole reason that this will give us constitution saving throw proficiency. In addition to this, we also get a bunch of other nice benefits like heavy armor proficiency and weapon proficiencies. So we're going to go with the fighter just to start off. And for our fighting style, it's hard to go wrong with defense to increase our armor class by 1. This is by and far the best fighting style. And for our ability scores, this is where it's obviously a little bit funky because we have to go into our wisdom here to make sure that she's going to be able to cast spells effectively. And in addition to this, we're also going to want to have a decent bit of constitution as well as dexterity for armor class. We're going to be typically wearing medium armor for the most of this, but you can also go heavy armor and build around strength. So for our ability scores, I think that going with 16 dexterity, 14 constitution, 10 intelligence, 16 wisdom, and 10 charisma works best. And for your skill proficiencies, it's whatever you prefer here for Shadowheart. So starting off as a fighter, this gives us a bunch of nice benefits. I'll also be going over all the gear because there's some gear that makes this build pretty crazy. So I'll showcase all of that as well. But with this Shadowheart level 20 build, we do got some really nice effects. So you can go and take the action surge here, but we're actually going to go into the cleric here. We're going to go light cleric. So first level here, taking the light domain, gives us fire hands, or burning hands, really nice spell, as well as fairy fire. And the subclass feature warding flare, which uses your reaction to impose disadvantage on an attacker. Disadvantage makes it much less likely that you'll get hit because they have to roll 2 die. And for our ability scores, I think Guiding Bolt just makes sense to have on here. I also like Create or Destroy Water. There's a lot of benefits to having that if you have a Storm team, but you don't have to have it there. Command and Guiding Bolt are the two that I'd highly recommend. As well, Healing Word can be nice for the additional bonus action heal. Sanctuary can have some usefulness, and even early game Inflict Wounds can actually be pretty good for hitting targets that you may not be able to hit. Bless is another really nice spell, but we'll go with this here. And for level 2 or level 3 total, we get another level spell slot. We get Turn Undead, and we get the Radiance of the Dawn Channel Divinity. It does 2d10 plus 1 radiant damage, and this can dispel any magical darkness. So that's really useful because we're a light cleric. And for our next spell, I think Sanctuary just works great. Then once we get ourselves to level 3, the cleric, we get ourselves some very powerful light domain spells with Scorching Ray doing a 66 fire and Flaming Sphere, which we're not going to use often, but it's there. Also, if you got the Mistress Spells mod, you get the Pyrotechnics here. And for our prepared spells, we have level 2 and Hold Person being our best choice. And I'll show you where and why we want this spell, but it gets crazy strong. So we're going to go with that. You can also take Spiritual Weapon, or you can take this at next level here at level 4. And we did choose ourselves a cantrip. So something like Toll the Dead, if you got the Mistress Spell mod, can be really nice. We do have Sacred Flame already, so one of these other ones you can go with. If you don't have Mistress Spells mod, you can take one of these other spells. It's your choice. And we'll take ourselves Spiritual Weapon. And for our feat, we do get an ability score improvement, and I think it's best to take up our wisdom here to 18. So for better spell casting is where you do cast spells and we attack. So got some cool benefits. So our light domain spells, we get ourselves a fireball here, 8d6 fire damage. It's just a very powerful spell and fun for a lot of reasons. Let's get Daylight, Ashlar and Stride, and Flame Arrows if we're if we have Mistress Spells again downloaded, so that can give us some cool benefits. Spirit Guardians and Glyph of Warding, two of my favorite spells. Spirit Guardians can actually be pretty crazy, and I'll show you how to really make this very, very strong. So we'll take those 2 spells there. We're going to go high into Cleric, but we're also going to add in some other things here that makes this really strong. So now we get Improved Warding Flare. Basically, we can give disadvantage on an ally instead of just ourselves, which is really nice to have. And for our next level spell, Animate Dead is really nice just to have. You got Mistress Spell, the Spirit Shroud can also be a good choice, but I like this non-concentration, be able to kind of with those zombies, you can pull aggro to different areas, which is nice because typically the enemy is going to target them. We get ourselves Guardian of Faith here, very effective. Wall of Fire and Web of Fire if you got Mistress Spells. And for our level 4 spell, we don't have a whole lot of great choices, so you can get Control Water. Death Ward can be somewhat useful, even Aura of Life or Banish. I'll just take Banish there. Nothing is like super necessary. I guess we could even go back and take Bless, or even Create or Destroy Water if we want that, because we can destroy water, which is actually pretty effective. At level 8, we get Potent Spellcasting. You can add your Wisdom modifier to the damage you deal with Cleric cantrips, making our cantrips much more effective. And we'll take our level 8 feat with an ability score improvement to take up Wisdom to 20. Great choice there. At Cleric level 9, we get ourselves the fun flame strike spell, and we also get ourselves destructive wave, one of my favorite spells in the game. This is extremely useful, so you'll see how to make the most of that. And immolation, doing fire damage. And for our next leveled spell, we do get level 5 spells with insect plague being an extremely useful one for crowd control. You can basically pop this down and then just use command and make them grovel and stay in that and take damage every turn. You can also go with holy weapon if you have mistress spells. Great restoration or planar binding, it's up to you for that. But once we get to level 11, this is where we get some of our biggest benefits. Divine intervention, you know the deal with that one. And then for our prepared spell, we can go with like the mass cure wounds if you'd like that. And here's where we get one of our greatest spells. So we get ourselves the planar ally, beseech one of these otherworldly entities for aid. It just becomes really strong. We can also take like the harm spell, which is a 18 or 14d6 of fire damage, which is really nice to have. Or even like the heal spell. So now we're going to go into level 20. Now for the next level, I think it's actually best to go back to the fighter, because with fighter we can get ourselves action surge, and that's huge. Getting an extra action on short rest, very effective. You can continue with the fighter, but I actually think to make this as strong as possible, the Paladin works very well together, because Paladin will give us more spell casting. In addition to this, the Paladin also gets divine smite, and you're going to see where this comes to effect. Now, the Oath of Vengeance is my personal preference, because you get yourself the Inquisitor's Might, which adds additional radiant damage and dazes targets. When a target is dazed, it's much more likely for you to land your whole person on them. And we get Divine Smite level 2 and a fighting style, so if you're going with a shield, go with dueling. If you're going with great weapon fighting, or two-handed weapons, go that one. We're going to take dueling here. And for our spells, we already have command. Shield of Faith, I guess, is a choice that you can go with, or Divine Favor, because they don't really require spell casting. You can also go with a Searing Smite if you want to, because this isn't going to be really benefited from Charisma, because we don't have very high Charisma. We also get the Vow of Enmity here, which we can apply to ourselves to give ourselves advantage on attack rolls for 10 turns, making this really strong. And then we'll take our Thunderous Smite just for the nice pushback that we get from that. And then at level 5 here, we get ourselves another feat, where we can go with an ability score improvement to take up dexterity, or we can go charisma. You can also go with great weapon master if you want to use that, or savage attacker to make roll damage die twice for better melee attacks. We want to focus more on that. Alert is another great feat, +5 to initiative. Probably the best choice here, just initiative so useful. And then once we get to level 5, we get ourselves the extra attack, and this is where we're going to bounce off of this class, because we also get ourselves Misty Step. We'll have another hold person version there, but yeah, and then for our next leveled spell, you can go Branding Smite if you want for additional radiant damage, but Divine Smite's what we're going to be using the most. You can continue to get yourself the Aura Protection, but we don't have high Charisma, so it won't really benefit us. I actually think it's best to actually, at this point, go in and add in something else. So we could have taken one last level of Fighter and actually taken Ranger Gloomstalker to get that extra attack, but we can also go back in and take another level of Paladin if you want to get that extra attack, or the extra Divine Aura. But we can also go in and take the not the Battle Master, but go in and take the Eldritch Knight, which can give us some actually useful cantrips. So like things like Green Flame Blade and Booming Blade are nice to have. And for spells, it's extremely useful to have Shield to increase armor class by 5. That's really nice to have. And you can also get yourself like a Magic Missile or any other guaranteed damage spells if you want. Absorb Elements can also impact you by giving yourself additional elemental damage type on your attacks. And even things like Thunderwave can be nice, but we don't want things that focus too much on spell casting because we don't have high intelligence. So Magic Missile and Shield can actually be really useful. And then we can take something like Long Strider, increase the movement speed by 3 meters, which is really nice. So this is another way that we can go about doing this. And then for the final level, we get ourselves another feat and another spell here, which you can take Absorb Elements and then go for our feat, ability score improvement, and you can take up Dexterity or Constitution, or we can go with Savage Attacker. You got lots of options here for what works best, but we'll go with Dexterity improvement just to increase our overall initiative. So what this ends up looking like is when we get into fighting, we got ourselves, as you can see, a great number of spells. So where this becomes pretty strong is we got like Hold Person, we got Command. So we got things for crowd control, but we also have a lot of damage with Fireballs and Scorching Rays. And with this combination of equipment, we become really strong. So I'm using the Hood of the Weave, although you can also go with, there is another helmet here that can give us a big benefit if we want to go with the Holy Lance Helm. Whenever a target misses their attack, we can do radiant damage, which will apply our radiating orbs. So this can actually become crazy. We become unhittable if we use this, because we also have ourselves, whenever we deal spell damage while illuminated by light, we can apply radiating orbs. The Luminous Gloves here, when the wearer deals radiant damage, the target receives 2 turns of radiating orbs. And then the luminous armor, when the wearer deals radiant damage, they cause a brilliant shockwave. So that can become really strong there, because with that we are stacking multiple sources of radiation or radiant damage, and this will further enhance our radiating orbs. But also with the stormy clamor boots here, we can inflict 2 turns of reverberation, which can knock the target prone. I'm also using the Fowler Alluve weapon here, and we're going to go with the Viconia's Walking Fortress for a shield. This becomes very, very strong. And I also like to have the Hellfire crossbow and Nair Mister in the offhand. You can also use like the Hellrider longbow. That's really effective too. Quartzcation ring. We also got Ring of Protection and Amulet of Greater Health. So this makes this 23 armor class, and I'll show you how strong this can actually be, because it is pretty effective. So typically in combat, we can smite or we can cast spells. We got lots of choice for a lot of fun combinations. So I guess what we'll do here is I'll just get Gale to be able to cast us a spell so that we can be hasted. I think it's best to show off this with a bit of haste. And then also what we're going to do is, oh, I hasted the wrong person. Oh no, I didn't. We're going to add in our planar allies. So we want to drop down planar ally before we get into combat. I recommend the Genie, but the Diva works really well with this as well. So with the Genie, what we can do is use this for Thunder Wave. So if we're in a position where Thunder Wave is going to be most effective, this is the one that we're going to want to use. So I would recommend going with that. We'll just group our group here, and then we'll get into a fighting stance, and then I'll show you what we can do here. So getting into a fight, we can start off with like a fireball, or even since we don't have concentrations up, we can go with like an insect plague or a wall of fire here, just for great crowd control. And we also got like immolation if you got the Mr. Spell mod. Fireball obviously being a very crucial spell here, but since we don't have a concentration yet, we can go with one. Weapon bond also from the Eldritch Knight is nice. We got Misty Step for moving around. We can apply our Glyph of Warding to drop this down on the enemy before we get into a fight, which can be really, really nice. And Destructive Wave is good if they come up close. So between Wall of Fire or Insect Plague for the crowd control that we're going to go with, I will drop this down here, and we can hit multiple of them there. Perfect. So I'll drop this Insect Plague, and it applies a bunch of Radiating Orbs. So we'll just get into a combat fight here. So we can also, what's nice is we can start, you can see it's very glowing because we apply Radiating Orbs, 2 stacks per spell. So with this, we can also go ahead and just attack, because we got ourselves some really nice Divine Smite options. Like we can go and smite targets, which will apply multiple stacks of Radiating Orbs. So that can be a good way to burn off some spells, or we can also cast spells, because we got a lot of options for spells. And things like Fireball will actually do a good number of damage on enemies. So we can drop something like this right here, which will hit multiple targets. Just see who you can hit the most with your attacks. It'll stack up. You can see we got 4 stacks of Radiating Orbs on the targets now. And then, yes, we could end our turn, but we can also go with an Action Surge and summon in the Maul. The Maul can help you land your hold persons more frequently. We're gonna go with Action Surge because we got a good burst for damage on the first round. Glyph of Warding can be really nice to just drop and be able to deal a little bit extra damage there. But I also just like dropping another Fireball, because that can be really good. We also got Magic Missile, which we can upcast to be able to hit multiple targets and apply more Radiating Orbs. Typically, once we have Radiating Orbs stacked up, we can just bank on them not hitting us at that point. We can hit another Fireball that hits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 enemies, so that's ideal. And if that doesn't take them out, that'll give them more Radiating Orbs. So that one's got 4, and yeah, they're cooked. We took out 5 enemies on that, so that was really nice. And we'll just back out. So the Action Surge only gives us 1 extra action, so we had 3 actions in that turn. And what's cool is we can actually use this our crowd control to kind of draw enemies the way we want them to go. So we're going to try and pull people towards us so that they get stuck in this, because it'll slow them down and make them take extra damage. Our Genie pulled off a crucial block, and he might get he got ensnared. That's all right. Critical hit, that happens. Sometimes you can't win them all. But with this, we'll just focus on trying to push enemies off the edge. And Insect Plague strikes again. Now, Insect Plague doesn't actually apply the Radiating Orbs outside of the first turn of combat, so that's a little bit unfortunate. We can't move because we're immobilized, but we can also try and knock them into... So we don't got much options as far as... Oh, we can actually knock... Oh, that's our... If we knock our sword off the edge... Oh, no, we might be able to knock him off the edge. I'll try that. And that didn't work. Took out our hammer. Can't win them all. He's gonna draw aggro, which is fine. Maybe I'll draw aggro. If I had the helmet on, I'd be able to hit her back with radiating attacks, which will further increase our abilities. Unfortunately, I have a weird issue with some mods where I can't use reactions, so this is unfortunately reactionless. Normally we would have a few different ones, like the ability to reflect spell damage back, or half spell damage, and also the ability to drop we can also have the ability to drop our shield as well, which I can't use right now, which is a little bit annoying. But basically what we're going to do now is we can upcast, and we can even free cast ourselves. Oh, I don't have the ability there. I was gonna say we can normally free cast, but we have a level 7 spell slot, which would give us a ton of magic missiles. So with this is the perfect thing for setting up. We're just outside of range. Crap. Let's see if I can move more this way and upcast this magic missile. So that's one target there. And then we're going to try and stack up as many radiating orbs as we possibly can. For some reason this won't magically make its way around. The more radiating orbs the better, since this is going to make it so that they have less of a chance of hitting us. So boom, that hit, that hit, that hit. I was able to take her out good, and we added more to the fight. So 6 stacks of radiating orbs. That's a -6 to their attack rolls, making it much less likely that they'll deal damage to us. But we also got ourselves Scorch and Ray here, which we can upcast and deal a little bit more damage with, and this will further stack up scorching or radiating orbs. So 10 stacks, 10 stacks, 10 stacks, and they are much less likely hitting us now. And then I can also drop our spiritual weapon over here. So we took it out last turn. That's fine, just using a level 2 spell slot. And we'll end our turn. I should have moved probably back some, but that's fine. They're going to miss us endlessly because they have such a bad attack roll chance. And he lost his ensnaring strike, so that's perfect. We can actually get our genie in there to do our dirty work for us. And we're blocking a lot of things. So since we got our genie back into the fray of things, we can use him to teleport around and hopefully be able to hit multiple with our Thunderwave. Might not be able to knock them off, but we got both of them here. Perfect. So we'll try this, trying to find the right lineup. That should work. Boom. That saved. Darn. But he's back there, so that makes them focus on him, which is fine because they have -10 to attack rolls, or roughly around there. I went in -6. She's gonna summon in her fire elemental. That's fine. She has 10 health left, and she's stuck in that and took damage. So there goes the fire elemental. So as you can see, this level 20 build is pretty strong. We can basically solo the game with this. And then there's a few more enemies here, so we could go with another upcasted magic missile. That's one that'll hopefully take them out. I hope that we roll a good damage on that one. Oops. We'll make sure that we don't attack my hammer, and just make sure that this curves and hits them. And maybe one. No, we'll leave it as that. We'll put that there and blast away 4. He has 1 health left. We were so close. Call the weak didn't work on that, but 10 stacks of radiating orbs again. And we also got ourselves another action, so we could just go with another magic missile. Level 4, because we have a lot of level 4 spell slots. Blast him once. And this should hopefully be it. Don't attack my spiritual weapon. 34. Hopefully this clears. Boom. Nope, broke concentration on Crusader's Mantle. That's ideal. Peak. And we also got Misty Step, so we could teleport there. And we also got our crossbow attack, so we can use our offhand crossbow. We don't have like the Divine Strike, so that's unfortunate, but if you have a Tempest Cleric, the Divine Strike can actually do some pretty good numbers. And here we can actually try and yeet the fellas off the cliffs again. So unfortunately, I'm gonna hit my hammer. That's fine though. Boom. That finished it off. The genie got a little attitude, but barely even got hit. Oh, we got ourselves another fight here, so perfect. So yeah, we're gonna get attack of opportunity here. I wish I could drop a fireball without hurting myself, but yeah, sometimes you get into these situations where you're not in an ideal place, but we're running low at spell slots, so I'm still just gonna drop the danger close. And oh, got counterspelled. Wish I could counterspell. Oh, I lost out in action. I accidentally pressed spacebar, so that's an ideal. But again, we're going to do a pretty good job, and we're holding our concentration as well because we chose the fighter to start. So this is really fun. As you can see, I'll just skip their turns. Now where the genie comes in handy is we have our insect plague there, and we want to keep people in it. So Genie, do your thing. Unfortunately, he just knocked nobody there, but the whole point of the Genie is to be able to put people back into your difficult positioning or knock them off the ledges. The Diva's the better choice in the other situations, though. And we get one more kick of the can here, which is nice because we actually have some good positioning for another fireball, which will hopefully stack up some radiating orbs for us to stay out of things. That was good, 2 stacks radiating orbs, and we got another action, but we're running low on spell slots, so we'll have to make use of what we got. So this will be a fire just to apply radiating orbs. We could have probably went 2 attacks on them. Yeah, that would have been ideal. 2 attacks on them would have finished it off. But we also got an offhand attack to finish things there. Boom, that finished him off. Perfect. And then there's 2 left here, so we can just use our Genie to be able to blast away and hopefully get the win here with Thunderwave. Potential pushback, knock him into the ocean, down by the river. Nice. That concentration broke, sent them flying. I love the Genie for that alone, knocking them off of ledges and putting them in the most impossible position for them to hit us. It's perfect. Our Genie's somehow still alive, and we can go in. I haven't even showed Divine Smite. Also, Spirit Guardians would be a great choice. I didn't even get to show off, but Divine Smite, bonk. That would have been double stacks of radiant damage. And then we can run up over here and potentially hit them. They're way down there. No, I can't hit them past interrupted, but magic missiles should be able to hit them. Perfect. So that one there is going to stack up 10 stacks of radiating orbs, and not enough movement to hit with our offhand attack. I wish we could also use magic missile there. They can hit us, but we can't hit them. That's fine. But yeah, this is the most powerful level 20 build. I guess there's some other more powerful ones. I've been testing out a Tempest Cleric, so I think I'll do another Shadowheart build here in the future. But that is that for the Light Cleric. Very powerful, and it's a fun one to use. So level 20 Shadowheart build in Baldur's Gate 3. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll see you all in the next video.